One of the better ways to learn a game framework is to explore its source code repository. And the libGDX repository includes hundreds of examples showcasing its many features and capabilities. You should definitely take a look at the examples because they contain a lot of useful information and knowledge that isn't covered in the wiki or the official documentation. In this video, I'll show you how to clone libGDX source code and try out the examples by yourself. Now, the first step is to clone the libGDX repo to your local machine. Launch the terminal app and run. This will make a local copy of libGDX source code in your machine. Then you can import the build creator file into your IDEs like IDE, Eclipse or NetBeans. I'm going to use IDE for this. To launch the examples, depending on each IDE, you can open the creator task window and look for the task named launchTestsLwjgl. For example, the following is the location of the launchTestsLwjgl task in IDEA. Now, if you get an error popping up because of a missing share object file, run the creator task fetch natives to fix it. Double-click and run the task again, you will see this example is showing up. Now you can scroll through the list, pick a test example that you find interesting and run it. For example, here's the ParticleControllerTest. Also, because you only have only example source code available, you can directly examine the source code right inside your IDE. Below, I just opened the source file ParticleControllerTest.java in IDEA. There is a lot of examples for you to check out. The following is a list of notable examples that are the most interesting to me. This example shows you how to load and animate a 3D model in libGDX. You can hit the arrow keys to walk around and space to attack. Also, it has nice shadow casting of the model on the ground. This example sets up a basic scene with several 3D objects. It has a camera controller so you can click and drag the mouse to rotate the view. This is a stress test of the default renderer where you can keep adding new 3D objects to the scene and observe the performance. Many stats are available such as number of lines, types of lines, number of GL calls, raw calls, shader switches, texture binding, and so on. This example demonstrates the integration of Box2D in libGDX. Box2D is a very popular efficient engine for game development. This example adds several wireframe objects to the scenes where you can pick individual objects using ray picking algorithm. This simple example presents a list of constant colors in libGDX. You can refer to a color directly by its name, for example, blue, cyan, red, and so on. This shows the functions of decal class. A decal is a 3D object, but it always faces the camera no matter how you move it around. This example implements a standard 3D fog effect using the default shader. The interpolation test showcases multiple interpolation functions along their timing graph. The Y circle is moving using the active functions. You can click anywhere on the screen to change the ball direction and target position. This simple example shows you how easy it is to build a functional inverse kinematic mechanism in libGDX. Click and drag to change the node location and observe the other movements. This example uses the default shader to render materials that have emissive color attribute. This is a test and implementation of Octree data structures, which is a popular spatial representation for game programming. This demonstrates the functions of oriented bounding box. Opposed to the regular axis-aligned bounding box, an oriented bounding box can have arbitrary axes and orientations. Bounding boxes are commonly used for collision detection between entities. This example features the 3D particle effect API supported in libGDX. This is an example of using Bezier curve to define the movement path for several objects. This example implements the QuadTrees, a very popular data structure for mesh generation and custom coding. A sample platformer game built with libGDX. Check the source code to see its implementations. A height map implementation, which is very useful for 3D terrain rendering. This example is a demonstration of using point lights with libGDX 3D API. You can also change the active model in the scene to see the point lights in effect. This shows you how to cast shadow on an object using a shadow map with directional light. And there are many more examples in the repository, so if you have the time, try them out and check the source code to learn about them. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.